Backyard Science. My name is Marilyn. I work at the Marina branch at the Monterey County Free Libraries, and today we will be learning about information or media literacy. This expands on the last part of the Victorious Vaccines video. We will be learning what information or media literacy is, how it applies to backyard science, and we'll put it into practice with some very important dermal denticle having members of our ocean ecosystem. Have you ever looked up something on the internet? Maybe you were having a conversation with your family or friends and there was a question no one knew the answer to. Maybe your pet did something and you have no idea why. Maybe you're doing a research project for school. Maybe you were out exploring, perhaps inspired by some backyard science videos, and you came across an animal or a plant or a funny shaped cloud that you wondered something about. If you looked that up on the internet or in a book or a library database and sifted through the information to find the answer, you exercised your information literacy skills. Information literacy, also called media literacy, is the ability to identify different types of media or ways of getting information and to understand the information that it might be sending or how accurate the information is. Because pretty much anyone can create an image or a website or an article or publish a book and either post it on the internet or send it out some other way. It's a good skill to have to be able to sift through that to find accurate information that's closest to what you need. This is especially important if you are doing research for school, but it's also a huge part of being an informed citizen. As I mentioned in my last video, the #1 rule of media literacy is to ask questions. Asking questions like, who made this? Might they have some vested interest in you believing a certain thing? Who is paying them to make this media? When was it made? Is it out of date? This is also true of image memes. In those cases, if there's no reliable information associated with the image, reverse image searches are your friend to see from where the image might have originated. Often, you might be surprised. Another example of ways to find information is search engines. The phrase Googling it might have entered our vocabulary as a catch-all term for figuring things out, but search engines like Google, Firefox, and Safari aren't immune to bias. Each search engine has its own algorithm for figuring out which articles show first when you search something, and the fact that the first few are pretty much always ads that I wouldn't recommend clicking should make you stop and think. It's a good idea to go several pages deep to see if something useful got pushed out of the front page by the search algorithm. The other thing to keep in mind is that relevance, or number of people clicking on the item, is not always the same as accuracy or correctness of the information, and relevance often determines what ends up at the top. Let's do an image search as an example, such as you might do when you know the basic name for an animal but you want more specific identification. We'll search sea lion. We know what a sea lion looks like from both my Seal Season segment and from Claire, one of our service learners' seal versus sea lion video. I'm actually having to scroll quite a bit to see an incorrect caption, so in this case the algorithm seems to be doing well. However, look at this picture. Is that a sea lion? This animal is gray with spots and doesn't have external ears or a neck it can raise or long front flippers, making it a harbor seal. But the article title and the caption on the picture label it a sea lion. This makes me question the accuracy of this article if they didn't do enough research to caption their photo accurately. But if you didn't live in a place where you're likely to learn the difference between a seal and a sea lion, like Monterey, you might not realize this part of the article is incorrect. The other thing that this website does end in .org, which used to be an indicator that a website was a little more trustworthy. But the truth is that anyone can pay to have .org at the end of their website name, so use just as much caution when getting information from a .org website as you would any others. Let's try another search. Remember how I mentioned dermal denticles at the beginning of the video? That's right, we are searching shark. So scrolling past the ads, look at these first few photos. Despite there being over 1,000 species of sharks and rays on the planet, you would think from this search that every shark in the ocean is a giant, toothy great white ready to attack you. This is simply not correct. A, the average shark species size is just over 4 feet, and B, great white sharks only attack humans when they mistake them for their normal prey, like seals or if you are in a school of fish. You are far more likely to get struck by lightning or killed by a cow or a dog than a shark. If you're scrolling too fast, you might miss that that is from a music video, that is from the movie Jaws, and that is from a video game. This might sound like misinformation that can't hurt anything, but misinformation about sharks, much of it from the film Jaws, actually caused a massive shark overfishing problem. This caused and continues to cause a host of other environmental issues because sharks have been important members of the ocean ecosystem for millions of years. That's just one example of why it's important to check sources and not to believe everything you hear, read, or see until you double check. But where did that average shark size come from? I found this article by someone that I happen to know, Dr. David Schiffman, where he takes the maximum known species size for each shark species and averages them to come up with just over 4 feet for the average size of shark species. I don't trust this information just because it's someone I know, and you shouldn't either. However, in the article, he talks about the process he went through to get that value, to the point where you could go get the book he references and get the number for yourself. He also mentions caveats like new information and species being discovered that might mean his conclusion isn't completely up to date, and the fact that some sharks are more well studied than others, meaning that the accuracy for each species size might vary. In all informational articles, especially scientific ones, the creators should say how they arrived at their conclusion so that you could theoretically repeat the experiment or the research yourself. Going to the sources in articles helps you cross-reference information accuracy and lets you effectively use tools like Wikipedia. The fact that Dr. Schiffman, for example, talks about why his number might not be accurate is an indicator that he knows what he's talking about and isn't trying to mislead you, but always double check. To recap, some principles of media literacy are to always ask questions about what you're seeing, check into who made the information and their possible motivations, and cross-check sources in articles and other media. This has been a very quick look into a very complicated topic, but I hope this inspires you to look more into media literacy and to make sure you are researching responsibly, whether it's something you see in your backyard or on social media. I hope you had fun, I hope you learned something, and I hope that you have fun exploring. Take care and see you next time. Bye!